Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hopefully we see some more coming in. We've only got a couple in at the moment, and I'm sure that's Jenny, and I've got Tamara, and one of them is me. I hope you're all having a great afternoon in America. I'm in Australia, so it's Monday morning and I'm still half asleep. So if you have any questions, just pop them in the live chat comments. If you can see them, some people may not be able to. If it's on your phone, I think it's underneath the video somewhere. You've got to click live chat. On your computer, it's on the side of the video. You can see it there. Unless you've got a minimized window, then it's underneath as well. So I was hoping that we'd have a few more today. I can't see many. So if you're new or just stumbled across us, welcome. I'm just checking my Facebook notifications because people might have asked me questions, and I've been busy writing out colors and things, so I haven't had a chance to check that out. Okay. Hi, Pam. If you want a copy of this image, it is only available for today. I think, is it Jenny? Jenny's there somewhere. She can answer that for me. But it is available from Jenny Luan's artist page. She's giving away this in her event. So if you want to grab it quickly before that finishes, Jenny, if you can let us know in the comments there when it's actually finishing, so that we can let people know. I've printed this one on Nina Classic Crest 80-pound paper solar white, and the reason I've done that is because I want to show you how to do a marker flower, and I thought if we get time we might do a pencil one as well. So I've printed it on paper that I know I can use with pencils as well. So if you want one, make sure that you're in the event. Now, I have put the link in the description of the video. So it's the very first link, the Facebook event link. So click on that and you'll be able to go into the event and join that event, and you'll be able to see there the image. It's been posted on her Facebook artist page wall too, I think, if I'm right. So Jenny, please correct me if I'm wrong. Hi, Sylvie. So I've done a lot of live color alongs with pencil, and today I wanted to do one with marker. So I've got only, let me just count my colors here, 2, 3, 6 colors, and I've got my colorless blender. I've got a deep burgundy purple color. I will list these up in the description at the end of the video, so you should be able to see them in the description if you're coming in later. So that one is RV69 if you have Copics. If you don't, it is a dark burgundy color. And I've also got some pencil comparisons here, which I'll read out as I'm going through them. I've got the next color in that same range, which is a kind of a pinky purple color there in the mid-tone, and then I've got a light sort of pink purple color there as well. And I've got a very, very light pale pink. I've got a bright pinky violet color, and I've also got a nice yellow green color there as well to use today. So I've also popped in the description my Pinterest link with the board where I pinned a whole heap of stargazer lilies. I'm not sure if this is exactly what Jenny had in mind, but it reminded me of that, so that's why I've decided to go with that one. So there's a whole heap of images on there, so if you want to click that link, check it out. Also too, if you want to follow me on Pinterest, sometimes when I'm doing a particular image, I will pin a whole heap of stuff to a board. So if that sort of pops up, you'll be able to see what might be coming up soon. So that's a little sneak peek there for you as well. So if you want to check that out, go and check that out. So I just pin images of things that I might be coloring so I can get a little bit more realistic colorings. also looking at different colors that it might come in and things like that as well. So I like to do that as well. Hi guys, thanks for joining. I can see a few coming in now. Jenny, hi. Jenny, you might want to explain to everyone where they can get the image from and how long it'll be available for, because I'm not sure. So if you can just pop that in the comments there as well, and then people will know. Again, if you've just come in, don't forget to join the event. It is listed in the description. So this is actually, we're doing this for Jenny Luan's book launch. So she's just launched her new book, which is Anime Doodle Girls Volume 3. So she already has 2 up and they're absolutely beautiful. This is the 3rd one. So this is one of the images from that. I've done a couple of images already in this book and they're absolutely beautiful, very pretty, lovely girls, which I love. They've all got anime eyes and things like that. Not this one's got her eyes closed, but you get the idea. And in the event, there was actually a colouring competition recently as well. So I think that's already been done. I'm not sure if the winner's been announced yet for that either. They've got a few people now coming in. So shall we get started? All right, so first of all, I'll do the bottom flower here. I will zoom in a bit when we get to that. And I'm going to be using the markers. So what I'll do is I'll tell you what marker color I'm using, and also I'll give you, I've sort of gone through really quickly, so if you can find a better match, that's fine, but it is a burgundy purple color. It's actually called Fioni, the actual Copic color, and it's RV69. It's a red violet color. So if you've got Prismas, it would be a black cherry sort of color. If you've got Black Widow pencils in the Cobra set, there's a burgundy colored pencil that would be the same as this. In the Pablos, I would say it would be the purplish red color. Pablos are a lot more pastel than a lot of the other pencil sets, so it's not going to be quite as bright, but you'll still get some beautiful colorings with that one. And if you've got polys, then I would probably go with magenta for this color. So did everyone get that? And I will start coloring. So I've got an image of my flower that I'm going to do up on my screen. So I'm going to try to attempt to do this. I can't believe I didn't get time to practice one, but we'll be right. I guess that's what live videos are about. They're about testing me. All right, so I'm going to zoom in. Just bear with me. Everything's backwards on my screen, so it does get a little hard sometimes to figure out where I am. Okay. The event link is in the description, so please check in the description if you can't find it. Now, I did clean my markers this morning, so there's a little bit of fluff on them, and there's already ink around this one because I refilled it. Just bear with me. Just like to try and keep them clean, but when you refill them like that, sometimes they can be a little bit messy. All right, so I'm using RV69. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go into the middle of each of these petals here, and I'm actually going to put a individual line just down the middle where that black line is of this color. Turn it on a bit of an angle there so I can get a better angle on the lines. So I will have my marker up straight, so you won't be able to see very well. But to get a nice thin line, I'll need to have it more vertical than horizontally. So just give me a sec to pull that out there. I'm just going straight down the middle. So if you're using pencil, we will do probably a Prismacolor one up above. But it's the exact same idea as what I'm doing. You still want to put a line down the middle. This marker is really wet, so I'm just going to do that on all of the petals. So right down the middle. What I might do is once we've done this part here, I will finish the rest of it and pop it up as a full tutorial for everyone, and I'll include this with a voiceover as well. So if I miss anything, I can explain it for you there as well. That may take me a week or two to do, so make sure you're subscribed and you've got notifications, so when I do upload those videos that you will get a notification. Okay, so I'm almost done with the middle of each of those. These flowers, I think, could be done as any type of a flower. It could be an orchid. They're really pretty. You could do any colors. I'm just going to go beside that little stamen bit there in the middle. Come up the middle. You can see that all right. I'll try to look at your questions as I'm colouring. Sometimes I miss things though, so. Linda, I tagged you in it yesterday, I think, so should be there somewhere for you. We've got Melissa and Teresa and Linda. Heaps of people coming in now. Thanks, guys, for joining. All right, so I've done the middle of that section there. Now, what we're going to do, let me have a look at my image. Okay, we'll do the little spots on it last. I'm going to use the next lightest color, which I picked was RV 66, and the actual color is, who knows, raspberry. There you go. So if you're using pencils, I've picked, for this color, I've picked in Prisma the Dahlia purple. In Black Widows, in the Scorpion set, it would be the deep purple. In the Pablos, I've picked Purple Violet, and in Polys, I've picked Crimson, the crimson color. So as I said, I'll pop these up after the video so that you can come back to it if you need to later on. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to kind of leave a tiny little bit of a gap on each side of this middle section. So I'll come in a little bit closer. There's my zoom. Looks a little bit messy there. There we go. So I'll do this one here up close and then I'll move back out again. So I'm just going to leave a gap. I'm just going to come down and put a line in there. Same on the other side. I'll move back out a little bit now and do the other ones. So I was just saying that the Copics are expensive. I sort of collected them over a couple of years, and in that couple of years, I've bought refills for a lot of them, and I haven't even emptied, you know, most of the colors. The only ones that I have brought more than one refill for is skin colors because I'm doing them more often. But there's a great article which is actually on my group page by Christopher Carey. He talks about Copics and the actual expense and cost of them compared to other markers. And it's actually quite interesting to have a look at. So it is on the page under Copics, I think. So if you want to check that out. So we're using that raspberry at the moment. Hello, new people coming in. Thanks for joining us. I should have popped a link in the description with the image. Just make sure you turn your page so you get a good angle on it. These are quite rough, but you won't be able to see that once we start to fill in the colour. Okay. All right, so I'm going to come in now. I've got the V04, which is the violet color. It is called Lilac. Now, in this one, I picked a couple of colors for the pencils because it's quite a light color. I did for Prismas, Mulberry, and White. For Black Widows in the Cobra set, I picked Tulip. For Polys, I picked a pale to light pressure of violet, or you could just add white with violet. And for the Pablos, I picked pink for this one. So this one here, I'm going to use as a little bit of a shadow color under some of these petals here. So where the petals are laying over the top of the other petal there, I'm just going to pop this in there, just a bit of a line. Just like that. So I'm going to do that wherever the petals sort of overlap. Back that way. Okay, I'm also going to do a little bit of a shadow in the edge there. I'm going to put this in the dips of the flower as well. So what that dips, that's not a very technical word, is it? In the shadows. So the petal here sort of curves outwards. So that's lifting out towards us. And then it kind of shrinks back down in here. And at the bottom here, it's sort of shrunk in a little bit as well. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this, flicking it up from the bottom, and just sticking a tiny bit in there as well. So on this one, it dips just at the bottom here. So I'm just going to flick that out there. This one here is the same. I think it really just dips at the top there. And this one is dipping quite a bit in that shadow area there and also down the end here. I'm using Copic markers. And if you've just come in, the image is for a book launch of Jenny Luan's newest book, which is Anime Doodle Girls, Volume 3. Okay, this one dips in here. So if you've just come in, I'm using Copic markers. I will be doing a pencil version, and I have given the pencil alternatives as I've been going. I will list them in the description at the end. I'm just marking out the shadow areas or the lower points. Down the bottom on this one as well. It's kind of curving in there a bit. Okay. Funny camera angles there again. I've got some RV63, which is Begonia. It's kind of a purple, dusky pink color. I've picked lavender for Prismas, pastel purple in the Black Widows with the Scorpion set, mauve for the Pablos. Gosh, I can't speak this morning. And I've picked light magenta for the Polychromos pencils. So I'll list them up later on. And I will do a Prisma version of the flower up the top here in a little bit. So let's just finish this one. What I'm going to do is go over the top of the VO4 that I just did, and I'm just going to flick this color up and out towards the other side. So wherever I've done that VO4. And then I'm going to go down the middle, and I'm just going to soften off that line that I did earlier. Just like that. So going over the VO4 that I did before. And just softening off that line. Okay, so you can see it's starting to soften off and look a little bit less wobbly. Other side. Just coming in here now. We've got loads of chat going on there, guys. Sorry if I haven't caught anything. Pop your questions in capitals if I haven't responded. Also, Jenny's there somewhere, so she'll be able to help you with links, hopefully, to the image. Okay. Just softening off the line, and I'm going over the VO4. It's getting hard with this camera angle again. With this paper, it's actually quite easy to blend, so it's not too many layers going on there. You should be able to use any markers for this one, just as long as they're similar colorings or any color that you like, really. It's just the process that will be similar. So I'm going to do the same process with pencils as I've done here. Okay, pretty happy with that section there now. I've got a lot of color going into those middle stamen pieces there. I'm just going to use my colorless blender just to clear those out a little bit. I'm just dabbing that on to push the colour out. And you don't need much on this paper. It kind of bleeds out nicely. So colourless blender I have an endless supply of. I buy it in big bottles. And I use it in like a dropper bottle as well sometimes to make like a watercolor effect and drip it on there, and it sort of bleeds out the color. It's one of my favorite marker products. So in those little middle sections there, oh, I missed one, hang on. Clean that one out. So these Copic markers are refillable. I take the little chiseled end out, pull that out, and you just drop the ink inside. There's like a fibrous core in the middle of it, and you can actually get a fair bit of life out of a marker. So if I don't have a refill for something, if I was to get to the end of the marker and it was starting to run dry, if I was to put a little bit of colourless blender in there, that marker would last me a lot longer. So that sort of pushes all that ink out. So you get a lot of life out of a marker. The only thing I've replaced a few of is tips. Because the tips, I mean, you can have a look at my colorless blender one there. It's got pencil and all sorts of things on there. So that tip's not going to last as long, and there's going to be less ink coming out of that because it's clogged up a bit now. I could try and soak it, but I'm likely just to replace it. So I've got some YG13. Now colors for Prismacolor, I would have picked Spring Green. For the Black Widow set, is actually the Black Widow set, the Cicada color. For the Pablos, I picked yellow green, and for the Polys, I picked light green. And I'm just going to go in and mark in this color down the center of those. Just popping that in, sort of dabbing it in, I guess. I'm going to put a tiny bit in this shadow area in the bottom sort of section here in a bit of a triangle shape. Oh, can you see that? It's upside down now. Hang on, back that way. All right. How are we going? So I've got some RV 00, which is actually I'm right in the weird camera angle here. I really need to figure that out, don't I? The RV 00 there, which is actually called Water Lily. This one here is a lot lighter than some of the pencil sets that I've found. So in the Prisma, Deco Pink was pretty close to it. In the Black Widows, you would probably use Caspar, which is white, and Pig's Ear, which is in the Scorpion set and the Black Widow set. With the Pablos, I'd probably pick the pink color with white, and also in the Polys, I would pick light purple pink with white. So what I would actually do is a light layer of the darker color and then go over that with the white to get that color nice and soft. So I'm going to come over the top of this color that we've already done, and I'm going to leave the highest highlight bit in the middle. So I'm leaving a little bit of a line down the side of the petal as well. So I'm sort of leaving a bit of a line here. Coming over the previous colors and just sort of flicking my marker in towards that middle section there where it's quite light. I'm going to do the same on this side. Just leaving the very edge. I'm going to come in with a white gel pen here and just sort of lighten up those edge pieces. I'm going to go into the middle now and just go over the top of that darker color. So we're starting to smudge off those lines that were in there. I'll do the same on this side. We're just coming in lightly. You can sort of hear my marker in this one because it's a little bit drier. Just flicking that out towards that middle section. I'm trying to leave a little bit of a highlight on each sort of curved over edge there. And then down the middle as well. So you can see if I move a little bit closer, right in really close, you can see how the paper's reacting with the markers and how it's starting to now really bleed and smudge off. So I actually started with a set of cheap Touch 5 markers on, I bought them on eBay, I think they were. It was $80 for 150 markers or something. And they were great, and I've pretty much dried out most of them. My daughter's now using the ones that are left, but there was no refills. So I spent that $80 and used up all the skin color markers within the first couple of pictures. So I started to get really frustrated with them and ended up going for the Copics, which was probably the best investment I ever made. But it was worth getting them, I guess, to see if I really liked them. But at the same time, as I said, it was kind of frustrating because I couldn't get a full set of Copics straight away. So I'm just coming over the top of that previous color. And my marker's really starting to dry out now. Which is weird because I just filled it. It probably was really empty and I just didn't realize it. Didn't quite put enough in. Just softening off those lines underneath. I'm quite fortunate. I don't actually have a lot of physical books. We're just talking about colouring books and how many we have. But I'd actually be quite scared to count up all of my digital books. One day I will, but I buy most of my stuff digitally. The only things that I usually buy that aren't digital are the ones that don't come digitally. So yeah, it's a pretty good way to not expose how many I've actually got. This actually made, I'm doing my top 10 for a desert island later today. I'll release that one. Some of you guys in here already tagged me in that last week, but it was really hard for me because all of my books are PDFs. So some of the things that I chose, I may not necessarily aren't my favorites, but it's what I had. So okay, so we're starting to get nice, fairy, blurry lines. It's starting to blend in really nicely now. So you could go over with another layer if you wanted to. I'm not going to because I want to get to the Prismacolor one as well for you today. I'm just going to use the colorless blender to blur the little white sections here so they look blended. So just putting a little bit of a flick over there just to make those edges nice and soft. Push out those darker colors there. Just blurring off that edge a little bit and where that highlight is. It's really hard to see in the camera, especially if you've got it on a lower quality that might be a little bit fuzzy anyway. So if you were using a pencil, you probably wouldn't need to do that because you will have lightened it off anyway. Now, two things you could do here. Actually, before I do that, I've got to put my little speckles in my little flower there. So again, if you didn't hear earlier, I've actually pinned a board on Pinterest with a whole heap of stargazer lilies. There's heaps of different colors. I specifically picked these colors because I actually have, if you have a look at all my markers here, they've all got little washi tape ribbons on them because they're all refillable, or ones I've got refills for. So that's why I went for pink, because I tend to use pink a fair bit and I've got refills for a lot of those. So yeah, before we go on to do the white sort of detail parts of it, I'm just going to put some little dots in. I'm going to use the very tip of my marker and just line out some dots like a bit of a leopard just randomly over the flower. There's more usually in the bottom section of the flower than there is on the tip. So I'm just going to do more towards the center. Just a little. Now these are going to smudge out a little bit as well. So I'm doing sort of some round ones, some longer ones, just randomly. Couple into the center a bit there. And then the same on all of those. So guys, if you want to learn more in-depth tutorials, I do have Patreon. I have loads and loads of full-length videos, videos on different papers, markers, colors, shading, things like that, adding more every single day. Also, I do color conversion charts. Now that I have my Pablos, I'm starting to do Prismacolor, Black Widow, Pablo, and Polychromos conversions from marker to pencil. So if I do marker full tutorials, you can still try those with those pencils as well. Just doing those ones on the back a little bit smaller because the flower's sort of further back. How beautiful does that look already? All right. Actually, to be honest with you, this morning I wasn't that well organized, and I really just quickly put together what I was actually going to do. I tried to be organized, but I just get so sidetracked with other stuff that, yeah, it doesn't always happen that way. I find having those reference images really helpful, though, when it comes to things like this. Ta-da! I'm looking at the screen, and it's definitely not as vibrant on the screen that I can actually physically see it. This sort of RV color here in the middle looks a little bit more, I guess, a little bit kind of neon from my perspective. So you won't be able to see that on the camera, which is a bit of a bummer. But I will be scanning the image up, obviously, to show you that. But it's come out absolutely beautiful. I'm really happy with that. We're going to put a little bit more detail in now. I've got a white gel pen. You could also use a white pencil here. I'm using the Signo Uniball brand one. I actually found another one in the art shop last week. Let me see if I can find it. I found the Jelly Roll, the Sakura one, and I quite like this for the really tiny details. So it's got this is actually the 0.5 size nib, so it's quite tiny. And I really like it for the very little images and doing eyes and things like that where you only need a tiny little bit. So, but we're actually going to use the bigger one for now. So in most of the flowers that I've seen, the outside edge is usually white. So I'm just going to put a very thin, that way there, line just around the very edge. Just like that. So just really defining it, putting a little bit of detail in. Also, you could put some little speckles of white in there as well to give it some texture. Sort of doing the edge that's dark. I'm leaving the lightest part that I left earlier. I don't need to go over that. Good thing about the white gel pen too is it scratches off if you make a mistake. If you want, you could use gouache with a brush, and that would actually wipe off if you do a mistake too. So I'm going to put a couple of speckles inside these little stamen pieces here as well. Some little dots. As I said, you might not be able to see it clearly on the camera there. So who's got time to do a pencil one? I'm going to use Prismas because I've got them out. Thanks, Megan. All right, I think that's pretty good. Oh, missed one down the bottom. Can you still see me? I'm off camera again. That way. I go further out, but you won't be able to see what I'm doing as close if I do that. So trying to do 50,000 things at once, read comments and draw and make sure I'm on the camera and make sure I'm giving you all the info you need. All right, I think we're good. I think I'm happy with that. Done. Let me just zoom out a little bit so you can see that further away. Just beautiful. I'm not going to do any of the stems or anything. We're just doing that flower section for now. I'm going to move up and start on the Prismacolor one. So anyone who's hanging around, you could watch that one. Ooh, nail art tools are awesome for white paint to put onto images. I've got heaps of those as well. I brought actual nail art brushes, so I had some little tiny brushes to do little details with as well. Okay, so first color we used in the marker one was RV69. So I'm going to use Black Cherry in the Prismas. Let me find it because I didn't get time to grab them out. So I've got Black Cherry, or if you were using Black Widows, Burgundy, Pablo's Purplish Red, or Poly's Magenta. I will put those colors in the description at the end. I didn't get time to type them out. I'm just coming in a little bit closer now to show you this one. I got a squeaky chair today too. I need to have it oiled. Okay, sorry, just grabbing my position there. Same thing, I'm going to go up the middle. I'm using fairly light pressure because this paper's more like hasn't got a lot of tooth on it. I don't want to push down the tooth really quickly. So I've just done directly down the middle. And then I'm just going to build up that pressure and mark that in nice and firmly. I'm going to go around and do that on all of them. There. So I did have a play with my brand new Pablos, and I absolutely love them. I'm playing with a couple of images at the moment, and I'm not posting them because I feel like I've disappointed everyone by not doing a video on them. But I did the rainbow hair, and it came out awesome. Was really impressed with that. So I'm going to have to do a video on that one, I think. But wonderful pencils. They're a lot like, they remind me a lot of Polychromos, and they're nice and firm, but they're actually wax-based, not oil. So Polychromos pencils are oil-based and Pablo's are wax-based, like a little bit like Prismas, but they're not as soft as Prismas. But that must be confusing to people who are new and don't know anything about pencils. Need my brush. Got a dusting brush, just a nice soft bristled brush. You could use a makeup brush or anything there. Moving around to the next one. I actually picked this image because I loved these flowers. Also, she doesn't have a lot of detail. Some of Jenny's images are a little bit more detailed, and they've got a lot of patterns and things like that. I'm a little bit plain, and I like this plain sort of nice open space. So that's how I picked this one. I actually really like the one that was picked for the colouring competition too. That was the other one that was on my shortlist. I kind of want that to look a little bit curved, I think. Curve it round at the bottom there. Building it up on the sides a little bit too. And that one. Obviously, pencil takes a little bit longer to do than marker. Marker's pretty quick. You sort of just lay things down and you don't need to go over it too much and things like that, whereas pencil can be a little bit more time consuming. Okay, so that's all I did with the dark colour. So I'm going to put that aside for later for the dots. The next colour I used was the RV66, I think. Well, we're just going to use that anyway. In the Prismas, I picked the Dahlia Purple, which is one of my favourite colours. My first one, actually, I hardly got to use because it broke so much. If you were using the Black Widows in the Scorpion set, there's Deep Purple, in the Pablo's Purple Violet, and in the Poly's Crimson. And I didn't sharpen it. Just give me 2 seconds to sharpen that. I do find that I use the techniques for pencil and markers is very similar. Got my crank winding pencil here. It's a little froggy. Had it for years. I don't even know where I got it from. Okay, so I've got the Dahlia purple here. Now with this one, I went down and left a little gap between this and the dark color in the middle. Just using that lightly to start with, just to flick that out. And then I'll just go over it just till I get the color that I need. Oh, and of course I just broke it. I think I don't need to do a compilation of my pencils breaking every single time. Oh, oh, oh. Oh dear. I'm just going into the shadows with this one as well. And I'm going to flick that out as well so that we've got a nice soft edge. Okay, so we've done our line down the middle. And then we've done our shadow. Also, if there's any dips in the flower, I might put a little bit of this in there as well, like just here. Oop, off the camera. Sorry, Linda. I'm very lightly brushing it. Does that help? Okay, this shadow here. And just doing that line. And there's a bit of a dip here as well. I'll just pop some in there. So going in the shadows, there's a little bit of a dip there. I'm just going to pop some in there. Some on that side. And there's a dip at the bottom. Yeah, gosh, this camera. I think I'm about ready to go crazy over it. Dip at the bottom, so just filling that out a little bit. And just making sure I go into the shadows there as well. I have a few different sharpeners. I use the hand crank one more than anything now. It's a little bit quicker and easier. I've got the Tagore one here, which I love. I use, you know, different numbers for different pencils. The 3 I'd use for the Polychromos, and the 1 I'd probably use for Prismas. But I like the hand crank one better. It just deals with all of the pencils. I don't have to keep swapping. I do use an electric one for poly sometimes because it's a little bit quicker. Just curving this one a little bit. Oh, my pencil broke in a weird angle there. It's got a bit of a secondary line. Just trying to give that one a little bit of shape. It's a little bit straight, so to do that I've just curved this line here a little bit. I also curved that darker shadow line as well, and I'm going to put a little bit of shadow at the top there, just like that. I think that's all of them. Let's put a little bit on the tip of that one. Okay. The next color I used was the, actually, I think I used the VO4, didn't I, for the, I'm actually going to leave that out. I'm not going to put that extra color in. I'm going to come in with, no, actually I will. What, Mulberry. Yep, this is me doing my thing. Let me just find the Mulberry. So for Mulberry, I picked Tulip in the Black Widow Cobra set, Pink in the Pablos, and really, really light pressure, the Violet in the Polychromos. I'm just going to go in and just increase those shadow lines that I've already done and make those lines down the center there a little bit wider. Just like that. Just very lightly so I get that lighter color difference. And then we'll come back in and go over the whole lot. So just adding to those shadows a little bit. Just, I'm using really light pressure, I have to say. This paper doesn't have a very big tooth on it, so I'm not stressed about being too light, because once I go over with the lighter colors, it's going to be really soft. And it's going to flatten out that white. Just going to move around. My someone just asked about Derwent, sharpening Derwents. My crank sharpener fits everything. The only pencils I haven't been able to find a sharpener for is the Lyra Giants. I have a couple of those in red or pink colors, and I haven't been able to find a sharpener to sharpen those. So I've been using a sharpening pad with the paper, if I have used them, the sandpaper. So we're starting to fill in this color now. There's a little dip there. We're filling in the white areas, gradually building that up. This pencil is actually kind of blunt, which is okay because I'm trying to soften this area off. It all depends on the type of paper you use too. If you're using a different type of paper, you may find that slightly different. Just softly, because I'm doing it so softly too, there's not as much dust, Linda, so no wiping. You see that one okay? I didn't really like Lyra's at all. They're not that great. It depends really. Look, it's your own personal choice and style. I think too that you tend to learn how to use whatever you've got. So if you've got them, then you may know how to use them. Like, it took me a while to learn how to use Prismacolor pencils. I used to keep breaking them because I put far too much pressure on them or hold them on the wrong angle, things like that. You actually learn as you go. It certainly helps watching someone else use them too, because you can see how they're holding it. And someone just mentioned before that I was flicking the pencil like I did with the markers. You sort of learn how to do that as you progress and do more. So the more you do, the better. So we've really filled out that flower now. So the lightest color that I'm going to use is Deco Pink, which is a really nice pale pink. If you're using other brands, I would use the Pig's Ear, really light pressure, and then I'd use white over it. I'm going to use white over this anyway, but that the pig's ear color is in the Black Widow Scorpion set, and Caspar, the white, is in the Black Widow set. I'd use pink in the Pablos with a little bit of white, and I would use a light purple pink in the Polys with white. Obviously, I'm going to be using light pressure with all of those. So I'm coming over now. I will pop these in the description as well. So guys, at the end of the video, if you do want to follow along, you'll be able to see those there as well. I've just got to type them out. So I'm just going over everything with light pressure still. I'm going to go down the middle as well to put a little bit of color in there. And I'm going to just sort of stop this right on the very edge there, so that there's a little bit of a light sort of section there for the highlight. This is a very, very light pink, so you may not even be able to see that there. Just gradually building up the color. I think I need a tiny little bit more mulberry there. It's just slightly off there. Just adjust it to how you want the shadows and things to go. It's better. It's better. I quite like that. Just going over it a few times, just with light pressure, just to soften off some of the tooth. Making sure I do down the middle. Looks like I'm going to have to darken up that middle section. It has lightened off a lot now. Sometimes the tonal adjustments are needed after you start to fill out the other color. You'll notice that it might be too light or too dark. So you might need to lighten it off. But usually that happens as you start to fill in the rest of the paper. So I usually say, when people are like, oh, it looks too light, I say wait till you put in the hair and wait till you put in, you know, the background and things like that, because sometimes it will settle down or it will darken up a little bit. It just depends on what you're doing and what colors you're using. So we are nearly finished here. Just going over with the pink. Yep, I'm going to need a little bit more of the Dahlia purple there. It wasn't quite dark enough. And then a little bit more mulberry. It's a bit better. Back over with the pink again. Okay, so looking good. I'm going to need a little bit more mulberry there. It's not quite soft enough in that edge. That's a bit better. So still using really light pressure here, just going over the other color, just flattening off the rest of the tooth. And I'm kind of leaving a little bit of a gap on the edge of the flower there as well. I think that might need a little bit more mulberry. Didn't quite lighten up my pressure enough on the edge. All right. Looking good. Down the middle. Okay, before I add on any white, I'm going to go through the middle and just darken up that middle black, what do we use? Black cherry, just to deepen up that a little bit more. And I'll also put some dots on there maybe. Actually, I might wait till we do the white before we do the dots, just so we don't soften them off too much. Okay, I've just got my white Prismacolor pencil. And I'm just going to go over very, very lightly those very edge pieces and just sort of blend off the rest of that color, making sure that the tooth sort of flattened out a bit so that you can see the brightness of the colors. So if you've got some tooth, it's okay. It will be a little bit brighter if we flatten off the tooth though, because you'll be pushing that pigment all around the tooth of the paper. Just putting a little bit down the middle there. So just still using light pressure. How's that looking? Yeah, I think we definitely need to darken up that middle section. So this paper is quite smooth, so we haven't needed to put a lot of pressure on there to flatten out the tooth, which is handy. It makes it a little bit quicker to show you guys. I wasn't expecting this to go over the 10:30, so I do apologize again. I seem to go over time. Sometimes it takes a bit longer than we think. I find, somebody just said they're very heavy-handed. I find that if I hold my pencil a little bit further back and really try to just sort of glide it over the paper, feather light, it's a great way to get light texture. The closer I hold it, the more pressure I seem to put on it. So guys, if you've only just joined us or stumbled across the live feed, we are colouring this image from Jenny Luan's new book, Anime Doodle Girls Volume 3. There is an event link in the description below if you would like to check that out. Also, I will post up the colours for this one. There you go, Linda. I will post up the colours for this one at the end. I'll type them up and pop it in the description. I'll also finish the video and do the rest of it. I don't know if I'll do it with markers or pencils or both. And I think that's it. At Pinterest, I've got some images pinned to my board there of the stargazer lilies. My group, if you'd like to join my Facebook group, is also in the description below. Also, I think I've posted Jenny's group there too. If I haven't, I will. If you go to the event page there, you'll be able to see her group from the artist page anyway. Almost done now. Last little thing here. And then we'll go darken up that purple in the middle. Also, I have Instagram, Twitter, I have a Facebook page, I've got Vero, and I have Patreon, which I will do more full tutorials. They're all, most of them are commentary, some of them are raw videos. There's also color list conversion charts and things on there as well. Okay, nope, off the camera, off the camera, off the camera. Got the black cherry again, and I'm just going to go down the middle and just deepen that color up. And just on the tips there, I think it needs a little bit more. Just deepening that up now. That's much better. So for the little dots on this one, you could use the pencil, you could even use a marker to pop in those little dots, which we'll do in a sec. That's much better. So I really did need to deepen up those middle sections there. Just give them a little bit more contrast. Big thanks to Jenny for the free images and for doing the event. I think I'm going to need to do dots now. So we're just going to go in. I'm just going to do some little lines, some circles, and just fill those in. So you can see I've got my pencil. I'm really close to the end because I'm putting firm pressure on here to get that in there. So I'm just going to continue that all over here. So I will post the full video when I've finished it. I'll pop it in Jenny's group and I'll pop it up in my group as well, so you can see the finished video as well. Okay. Almost done. I guess I wanted to do two different pencil and marker just to show you that with the pencil conversion charts, you can get the same look. It may look slightly different in tone and things like that because obviously we can't get the exact color matches, but you can definitely get the same look at the end of it. So, and also it also shows that you don't have to have specific brands of pencils or markers or whatever either. You just need to find similar tones or colors, and using this same technique, you should still be able to get the same sort of image. You just need to work it and figure out how to use those products to your own needs. Last one. And then I'll pop some green in and I think we'll be done. So the green that I picked for the center, I picked spring green for the Prismacolor. Okay, sorry, just off camera again. So let me find the spring green. That looks pretty good. Spring green in the Prisma. This was the YG13 in the Copic markers. So in the Black Widow set, I picked the Cicada color, which is actually in the Black Widow set. I picked yellow green for Pablo's and I picked light green for Polychromos. So I'm just going to go into the center of these little parts here and fill that out. I tried to miss that with the other colors too, so just putting a tiny little bit of a triangle in the middle of each of those as well, just to put a little bit of that color into the middle. Camera, camera, camera. Okay, any questions? So I'm going to stop colouring for a bit and answer any questions. I just got some white to do first. I'm just going to zoom out. Zoom out. There you go. So the Copics are a lot brighter and the pencils are a lot softer, but I think it would depend on what paper you're using as well. I think I could get the pencil that similar brightness if I was using a pencil paper. So just something to keep in mind there as well. I've got my white gel pen and I'm just going to go in and mark out those very edge bits again. On pencil, sometimes the white gel pen isn't as easy to use. Just popping some dots in the middle of the stamen there. Okay. I keep thinking I'm done and then remember there's something else I need to do. It's a bit rough then. So it looks like Jenny's doing the colouring contest soon. We had some votes going there. So if you haven't voted, please don't vote more than once though, and you only get 3 votes. So you only get to pick 3 images that you like. And she's going to be counting them up soon. Any questions, guys, before I finish up today? I love it. It looks fantastic. Very happy with that, considering it was a last-minute thought on colours. Lilies do come in loads of colours. So as I said, I picked colours that I had the most refills of. So, you know, I knew that if I ran out, I had a refill for it. I've seen on my Pinterest, actually, there's loads of different colors, pinks, purples. I've even seen blues, but sometimes I'm not sure if they've been color shopped, so it's hard to know if they're true colors or not. But I've seen heaps of different colors in them. So I will leave this up and I will type up the colors and pop them in the description or in the comments. I can put them in both if you like. If you can't find the description, it'll be in the comments. In the actual comments, not the live chat too. So once the video is uploaded, the full video is uploaded, you can't actually type in the live chat anymore. So it will be in the actual comments. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the little bell if you want notifications when the next part comes out. So I'll finish the rest of it and I'll record that up and do it as a tutorial. And, you know, I'll finish off the leaves and things like that as well, and we'll do some skin. I'll probably do markers, and I may do a little bit of pencil touch-up and things like that. If you don't have markers, please remember that I'll put up a color conversion chart. As I said, I've only got the 4 sets that I'm using, so you can see what colors I'll be using and things like that there as well. And I'll do that on the public YouTube as well. I won't just save that for patrons. It'll be for everybody. So once I finish that. So don't forget, if you want the book, there's also a link in the description. It's available on Amazon, which I've popped down there as well. it is an absolutely beautiful book. I actually quite like all of these ones, Jenny. Thank you so much for doing them. I am doing a little bit of an event with Jenny for July. We've done a little bit of a Christmas in July thing, and I've done up a little colouring on a candle, so that'll be available in our groups as well and in Tamara's group too. So something to look forward to for Christmas in July. I think that's everything I've got planned. I'm going to do up a poll in my group on the next full colour along. So I'll put up, first of all, a list of potential mediums, so pencils, markers, and things like that. And also then after that, after we pick a medium, I'll then put in some potential pages that I might do as well. So that'll be coming up soon because I want to start another one in July. Also too, I've in Patreon, if you are a patron, I have posted up the links for a colour along I'm doing in the Heart Gallery group at the moment using the Firefly image from Molly Harrison. So if that's something that might interest you, that's with Prismacolors, and I've also used a couple of other mediums in that as well. I've posted the first one up already in Patreon, and I've also got that already up to week 3 in the Heart Gallery group. So if you want to check that out as well, you can. So I'm just reading all your comments and see if I can see anything else there. Don't forget to hit like. Yes, definitely. No problems, guys. The more you guys like the video too, the more other people get to see it as well. So it's great to like, and also comments help too. So spread the video around and let other people see Jenny's beautiful books and colour in these pretty flowers. Thank you, Jenny. It's been a pleasure, and I'm so happy to be able to do this for you, and I so look forward to doing many more. I think that's everything, guys. Thanks, Loretta. Thank you so much, everyone. You've all been wonderful, and I love that you guys have been so supportive, and I'm very grateful. So I've got my colour list here. I'm going to go and print it all up for you guys and put it in the description. So I will see you next time. I'm posting up later on today, once I've uploaded it, my top Desert Island top 10 video tag. So you can check that out as well when that comes out. And I've got a couple of videos this week. Oh, and the top 10 for the group too. That'll be coming out tomorrow morning. So I forget that you guys are actually, most of you are in the US, but in approximately 12 hours or 24 hours from now, the other video will be up. So, and the my Desert Island top 10 will be up in a few hours. So great. Oh, look, I've got a bit of a smudgy down the bottom here. All good. I think I'm done. I think that's it. I'm just reading the comments. So let me just check. Someone watches whether they're colouring or not. Perfect. Colouring. Don't forget to like button. Like. Beautiful. Some people like the pencil better than the marker, and that's great. Green. So putting the hints of green on gives some more texture in there. Make those little details make the picture, I think, too. Everyone have a good evening. Who else have I seen here? I will repost this video up with a full commentary, so it'll be with the rest of the image, so don't stress about that. And obviously you'll have your own color conversion chart and things like that, so don't worry about missing colors and everything as well. I think that's everything. Thanks, guys, so much, and I will see you next time.